So just to let you know, before Penny starts, we will be recording this session. So if any of you do not want to be seen on the video on our YouTube channel, then please turn your cameras off now. Thank you. Over to you, Penny.
Okay.
The host has spotlighted your video for everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I've tried to be really organized here with this cake, which actually takes very little time to make. So the most important thing I have, and you will understand later, is a bowl of hot soapy water, because we're going to need it, because I make all of this by hand, pretty much with my hands. So I've got all my ingredients here lined up, and I'm starting off with quite a large mixing bowl. This makes a lot of cake. I reckon this cake in the end will serve at least 18 people. And I'm making it in, this is my silicone mold. I actually have two of them. I was being teased this morning. So it's whatever the dimensions I gave you, it's that height. And then it's got up the middle. And if you can see it, it's got a hole that means that when it comes out, it's got a hole right down the middle. And this helps with this cake because there's quite a lot of moisture in it with all the apple. And that just helps the heat get into the middle of the cake. Now, obviously, you can make it with different types of cake molds. This is silicone, so it's nice and easy to get out or take it out. But you're just going to want to watch if you're baking a whole solid cake without the hole in the middle, that you're checking the temperature, making sure it's got up to, I would guess, probably at least 80 degrees in the middle. Then you can be fairly confident that it's done, or it will continue cooking until the end. So that's my spare cake mold. I have the one I'm actually going to use today. I've already just given it a puff of oil, and then I've just dusted it out with a little basic flour. So that's ready, and that'll just help it unstick later on. The oven is on, gas mark 3. Oh, I'm going to pour into my bowl all that sugar, Supriya, that you were so horrified about. And I don't blame you, but it is a big cake. And as I said, it'll serve 18 people with ease. So it's nice for a party. I'm just breaking this up in the bowl. So I've not got any lumps of sugar, just running my fingers through it, just like you would rub in pastry. And that's actually how we make this cake. And it's very strange. So there's the flour and the sugar. In goes my butter, which I've had out of the fridge, and it's cubed.
I'm a bit behind you. I'm just cubing my butter, nearly finished.
That's okay. Do not worry.
I wonder how many these cakes the king would need for his celebration.
Penny, what should I put in the bowl first?
I would throw in the flour, the sugar, and the butter, and rub it in just as if you were making pastry.
Oh, so all three together?
All of that together. Okay. Butter, sugar, baking powder's in there as well.
Yes, well, it will be in a minute.
So it's really simple. Just takes this rubbing through fingertip method.
Gosh, am I the only one doing it today? That is stressful.
No pressure, Supriya.
Later on. Right. Supriya, how's your rubbing in going?
Not very well at the moment. It's because I haven't started. I'm doing the salt, flour, and baking powder, mixing that in.
If I just lift my hands up, you can see how I'm doing it. Just my thumbs rubbing over the very end of my fingers, making sure that that butter is really nicely dispersed amongst all the sugar, the flour, the salt, the baking powder, whatever, all those dry ingredients. And so we're rubbing together the dry ingredients and the butter. And I think I'm happy with that. I can now throw in my next ingredients, which are my chopped dates, and I'm using oh gosh, what Brazil nuts which I've chopped. Those have gone in. I'm just using my hands to mix those through. So I'm just getting them evenly dispersed. And here is the last bit. And here comes the apples. And I'm using, I think these are Bramley apples. They're cooking apples.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And I didn't bother to peel them. I cut them into quarters. I took out the cores, the stalk, all the horrid bits in the middle. And so I am just going to start putting in handfuls of apple. They're about, oh, I don't know. I would have thought perhaps a centimetre cube, that sort of shape. I'm not being very accurate. The important bit about this is I am coating the apple with the flour. Leaving the skin on means that I've got one less surface on my apple pieces that will give out moisture into the cake mix. And it's this bit that's important, because putting some more in now, another couple of handfuls, because what I'm trying to do is give the apple a bit of a skin with the flour and sugar and butter, so that the moisture stays in the apple, not making it into a great big puddle.
Excuse me, Penny, can I just
Yep.
check this? Oh dear, I don't know what that sound is. Check the steps with you. So after
Yes.
rubbing in the butter, you
Yes.
added the nuts and the dates, did you?
Yes,
Okay, mix them in, and then the apples.
then the apples. And so Priya, can you, if I hold up this mix for you?
I
what
can't
doing-
see. I can't see
I
at
can't
all.
see it either. I was realizing that. We're as bad as each other. If I
I know what they should look like, because I've made, cakes like this before. So
Yeah. So it's just got a mixture of the apple pieces and the flour. And the flour is still dry.
yes.
So then goes in the last bit of my apple. We're as bad as each other. I forget that I can't see, and I forget other people can't see.
Penny, it's Jane. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So I've never, ever not taken the skin off apples before. I've never put apples in a cake, but I do make apple crumble. Would it be a good thing to do for apple crumble to leave the skin on?
I don't see why not. All my, I normally make this cake with my homegrown apples, which are cooking apples, but they're not common or garden Bramleys. It's because I've got the remnant of a very old orchard here.
Oh, nice.
So I have Lord Grosvenor's, my dear Lord Grosvenor, and Lord Derby, and an MNF Early, which is extremely difficult to say, and I have no idea how it's spelled. But because we don't spray or anything, I'm pretty happy with those. But even when I bought these shop bought apples, I made sure they were really well washed before I started using them. Yeah,
Oh, I'll try. And in apple pie as well, because that would mean that the pastry wouldn't get quite so soggy, wouldn't it?
it would indeed. Yeah.
Ah,
Right. There is my mix. So it's still got dry bits. It's still got some apples which are starting to give out a bit of moisture. I can just feel as I'm mixing this that the texture is just starting to get a bit damp. So I don't want to take too long with it. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And here I have a bowl with my vanilla extract in it and my 4 eggs. And I've got this sort of hand mixer that I can press up and down, which I like very much, because I can put my hand over the top of the bowl, keeping it firm. The mixer goes down between my thumb and first finger, and then I just press it up and down, and you'll be able to hear it mixing. if you're doing it with this sort of mixer and you can't see, I really suggest that you have quite a deep bowl because it can make quite a bit of mess. Right, so I'm going to put that mixer for the washing up. And I'm going to pour in, no, I would say half, but I've no idea. I'm going to give a good splosh of this egg into my mix. And before I do anything else, I'm going to bring my floured and oiled cake mold on its tray. I'm putting it in the oven on the tray, just gives it more stability for me, because after this, I'm not going to be able to touch much at all because I am going to have the gloopiest fingers in the world. So I am now just by hand mixing this egg into my cake mix. And I want you to remember that once you start getting liquid with baking powder, you're starting to activate the baking powder. So you don't want to mess about and take too long. So that's the first bit of egg in. Just going to finish that off, wipe out the bowl with my fingers. I'm a great fan of using my hands when I'm cooking because they're really quick to clean. You just wash them up, dry them, and I don't have to put them away.
Like your theory.
It keeps the washing up down, doesn't it?
Well, I use my hands just to know what I'm doing, mainly to feel.
Absolutely. You know, when you can't see, what you can do with your hands makes all the difference. So now,
And I believe God has given us the best equipment. Why need to use anything else?
yes, I am now
Agree.
taking handfuls of this mix. I'm using my other hand to guide me so I know where the cake mold is, because when you can't see it, it's really easy to drop handfuls onto the work surface.
Or down the hole in the middle that you don't want to.
Yeah, you're
Oh.
absolutely right. You've spotted me. And I'm making sure I keep this sort of whole bit in my other hand.
Right. I'm putting the apples in now.
Yep.
So I've finished the rubbing process. I'm now putting the apples in. Do I just mix that with the hands as well?
The apples, yes. You want to get those apple pieces coated with flour.
Yeah.
So where they've been cut, all their cut sides are covered with flour. It'll just help it not bleed moisture into the cake mix.
Yeah.
You'll think it when you start mixing the eggs in, you'll think, why did I worry about that? But that's my theory anyway, because this is so gloopy. Oh, I think I'm just. So what I'm trying to do is be really fairly even as I push this around the sides. And I don't think Jane's seen any of this sort of stuff before, with rather mad blind people making a complete mess in their kitchens.
Well, I don't know. My mum was blind, so
Really?
yeah. So she managed she managed, and it was usually a little bit.
I think we might make it more messy while we're cooking. But when I clear up, mine is the cleanest kitchen. A lot 10 times cleaner than any of my. Because I usually, when the sighted people have cleaned up, I go after them and make sure it's clean again.
I am exactly the same, because I run a hand over the work surface, and other people see that it looks clean, but my goodness, when you touch it, you realise how disgusting it still is.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I'll be licking my fingers at the end of this, Penny.
Well,
I love cake dough.
Not to. I have been told off by other people who are really concerned about people using their fingers and licking them. Actually, if I lick them, I would normally go and wash them straight away after.
Oh no, I meant at the end when you put the pumpkin in. So that would be my treat. I love cake dough.
Yes.
There's an awful lot of apples, Penny.
There is. It's completely full.
Is that all right for sort of more than the mix, I think. But
where's your faith, Supriya?
No, I'll trust you now.
Okay. I'm going to back to our recipe now. And
I'm beating the eggs with the vanilla essence. Is that right?
Perfect,
And then I mix
perfect,
it
no.
with the, yeah.
Yep. I'm going to pop mine in the oven.
Okay.
Well, I hope I'm going to get it in the oven. That's it. Alexa, set timer 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Right, I'm just going to rinse my hands. Again. I hope you've got hot soapy water to hand. You need to mix it until the whole mix is sort of sticky and you haven't got any dry bits left.
Now make the actual eggs. How much do I beat?
Just beat
Just
them
to mix
together
them.
so they're broken up.
Okay.
Do you realise we're all watching you now, Supriya?
My video is off.
You're not silly, are you, Supriya?
You have centre stage.
Yeah.
So have your eggs gone in yet?
No. Actually, they can go in now. I think mixed.
I would put in half and put in half and get
Yeah.
it going.
Okay.
And is your cake tin handy?
Yes.
Because this is when you could get you're not really going to be able to do much more now. The mix,
Oh, I see what you mean. Ah, I've never mixed eggs with my hands, as in cake. That's new. Okay. In for a penny, in for a pound.
Literally, I just put a hand in, open fingers, pick up
Yeah.
a handful, turn it over, pick up a
That's it.
handful.
That's what I'm doing.
So now you can start handing it into your cake tin.
Yes. And does this cake rise much? How
No.
much should I fill in the tin?
I would do it. How tall is your tin?
There are two. I'm going to go for the bigger one, which is about 2 inches tall, or maybe just under. And I think it's an 8-inch square tin.
Oh yes, that's not huge, is it? I would give yourself probably half an inch from the top. Go a bit more, but just think it will rise a bit, but not a lot. And you're not going to get it all lovely and smooth on the top either.
Okay.
You're going to have bits of apple poking up through the mix.
Right.
When I've taken it out of its baking, it needs to cool really well still in the kitchen because it needs to solidify. So I would leave it for several hours in the cake mold. I would go around with a palette knife just to ease it.
Yeah.
I then put it on a big plate and I happen to have a glass dome, but I wouldn't even cover it with a glass dome. I'm absolutely sure that this cake is cold. It's got a lot of moisture in it from the apples. So what you don't want it doing is sweating and giving off moisture, vapor and all the rest of it. And
well, I have to decorate mine as well. So it's got to be iced and decorated.
Well, I'm going to just hold you on it. This cake will keep for a week.
Okay.
I would think after a week, because of the apple in it, I would be inspecting it very carefully.
It won't last a week in our house, and it's my husband's birthday tomorrow, so it will be definitely.
It will be perfect for his birthday. What I would also say is that if it's getting too brown, cover the cake, cover the ramekins with some foil until you're able to put in some, your skewer, or in my case, my thermometer, and make sure it's coming out clean. I think the other word of caution here is that a skewer going in, you need to be sure it's clean from the point of the cake dough, because you're going to have hot apple in there. So it may come out slightly moist from hot apple, but it's the cake dough you need to make sure is cooked. So that will feel slightly different. My big one, I cooked one on Friday actually, and that took an hour, but I've got a hole in the middle. So I'm thinking with yours, you cover it with foil after an hour, and I would put a hole in the middle of the foil so that moisture can come out, heat can get straight into the middle. That'll protect your edges, but to let heat get to the middle of it. But you'll need to judge that, Supriya. And you've done enough baking. You will know.
Yes, yes,
Your
be
skewer
fine.
tells you, your thermometer and your fingers, whether it's done or not.
Okay, yeah.
You don't want it over browned. Even though you can't see it, I have something to show you.
Okay.
Alert, OpenSight Hampshire has started screen share.
Alan, can you bring that in? This is on its stand.
Alert, OpenSight Hampshire has stopped screen share.
Oh.
Right. Supriya.
Yes.
I'm so sorry you can't see this.
You can turn it around as well.
Okay.
You turned it around? Are you happy with it? The sous chef has just brought in my cake. And my cake...
Is this one you did earlier?
This is one I made earlier.
It's the Blue Peter cake.
It is the Blue Peter cake. This is the one I made on Friday. And so I let it cool I made it Friday morning. I let it cool until Friday afternoon before it came out of the silicone mold. Alan's just going to lift it up for you, but you can't see it.
Ah.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, I'm coming over right now.
So
that's amazing, Penny. I've showed my students it. They think it's great.
Good. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, students.
Yes. There we go.
How's that?
There we are.
Now, what
Oh,
I've
sorry,
done,
that's lovely.
what I've done on here is it came out of the mold on Friday afternoon. It then had another 12 hours to cool before I covered it with the glass dome. And then this morning I was up at the crack of dawn, especially for you. And firstly, all the cake has been brushed over with gold. And I have to, I got a friend to do this for me because I thought we'd end up with a piebald cake. So it's all brushed over with gold cake colouring, like dust it is. And then also on Friday, we made lots of shortbread crowns. I got some special little crown cutters. So round the base, stuck on with a little icing sugar and water, are large shortbread crowns. There's about 7 of those. And then if you come up, and this is like a tower now, there's another row of 5 small shortbread crowns. At the very front, there's a great big cardboard crown. At the back, there's a big flag. And then there's other stuff on it that I confess I didn't put on it because I wasn't going to try and press things in, and I wouldn't even know which way up they were. So there is a cake fit for the king.
It's amazing.
Sounds lovely.
It is amazing.
This one will not make it to the coronation because it won't last that long, but I will be making another one. Well, there's one in the oven, so I'm overwhelmed with apple cakes at the moment. But I hope that's inspiring and fun, utterly silly and madly over the top.
But that's what the celebration is going to be about, Penny, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should send a picture of that to King Charles.
And it's on a glass stand, so it's lifted up. It's on a very big stainless steel platter.
No.
And then inside the stainless steel platter, I've got a wooden board that fits it perfectly. So I cut this cake, as I said, into at least 18 pieces. And that will be a lovely centerpiece for a coronation party buffet.
Penny, before decorating, would it be a recipe you think would freeze very well after you've baked it?
I would be very cautious because you're putting a lot of moisture into it because of the apple. If you're desperate, but I think it would be really collapsing when you came out of the freezer. I wouldn't do it myself.
Okay.
But
Well,
if
you're gonna have to make it a couple of days beforehand then,
You're just going to have to eat it.
Well, there is that. Have a dummy run.
I use this all the time, and because it will last and it stays really lovely and moist for a week. So if you're having a party, this is a great thing to make 2 or 3 days beforehand. Takes one of the things off your list of things to do, and that always makes life easier.
Almost definitely.
But probably don't decorate it too soon, because there's lots of apple in here, lots of moisture. So if you're putting rice paper things on here, they may start absorbing the liquid. I haven't tried it. The things I've got on here are either shortbread or card, apart from the flag. So just be conscious about whether your decorations will do well with moisture. If they won't, do the decoration on the day you're going to serve it. So if I was serving this, I could put a bowl of cream in the middle. Can you see? If you were, you can use the same mold for perhaps, I don't know, a smoked salmon mousse, and you could put some crudités or something in the middle. But it does help with turning out this sort of cake. And I have a lot of silicone molds. I find it easier for me as a visually impaired person because I can gently peel the mold away from the cake or whatever else is inside and not have to worry about putting a bit of force with a loose bottom tin or something.
I was just going to say, if anybody, those of you who are going to participate, and like Supriya, if you can send a photo of the cakes, your creations, and like you say, we're wanting to send Penny's picture of her cake off. It'd be lovely to include yours too as a collage.
I don't think so. It won't be as spectacular.
No, Supriya. Everyone's but if you feel you would like to share a picture of your creation, it would be lovely for us to be able to share that with our other members, but also to like I say, include it and send it off to the Buckshot household to let them know what we've been up to.
Sure. Okay.
Lovely. So
otherwise, we look forward to having a surprise.
Yes.
There's I don't know which is the worst challenge. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your patience and your enthusiasm and some really intelligent questions. It's been a lovely morning and I'm really grateful.
Yes, so thank you so much, Penny. And like I say, do enjoy your cakes for the king. And I do wish you all the lovely celebration time that you're going to have on that special weekend. So thanks, Alan, as well. The shoe chef. Not easy thing to say, is it? Shoe chef. But once again, Penny, thank you tremendously for all your support. And
thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Madam.
Thanks, to see you again soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.